People throw the word boundaries around like it's a personality trait. But what's the difference between someone who actually has boundaries and someone
Mm-hmm.
who's just using a language to avoid accountability?
And I love this question because I teach boundaries and not barricades. When I say balance, I really mean that. First of all, for those people who don't understand, boundaries are not something that you set to control another person's behavior. It's not about, I
Mm-hmm.
have a boundary with you that you won't do, because people have free will and they can do what they damn well please, okay? Your boundaries are for
Mm-hmm.
you, dictated by you. So you have to decide, if this behavior shows up, how will I respond? Right? That's the difference between a boundary and an ultimatum. You don't hear them, you see them. Your boundaries are self
Hmm.
protection in action. So if you hear a person saying, "You're not going to treat me like that, I got boundaries now, I got boundaries now, you're not going to do these things to me," they, they probably don't have boundaries. They've never set them. They're afraid in a corner somewhere, terrified of what could possibly happen. This person is not setting a boundary where there's a gate for people to come in and out once you've vetted their safety. They're setting barricades with a chain link fence on the outside, and what do they call that, razor wire around it, because they
Mm-hmm.
really
Mm-hmm.
don't feel safe. And you can hear it. I got boundaries now.
Okay.
You're not going to show up like that for me. But a person who
Mm-hmm.
actually has boundaries will say, this type of situation violates what I said I wanted for myself. I want peace. I
Mm-hmm.
want unity. I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. I'm not an argumentative person. So, for example, one of my boundaries is, I don't go back and forth with people. You're not going to argue or talk to me like that, because you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you do
Mm-hmm.
that, then I'm out, because I have a standard of living that my boundaries are like Siamese twins with. My standard of living is here, and my boundaries are right here with them in lockstep. So I have to hold myself accountable to say, I said that I didn't want to be in a situation like this, arguing back and forth, being mean, being nasty, gossiping, whatever the case may be. So I don't participate.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to say
Mm-hmm.
that. You can see my boundary when you notice my absence. And that's the difference.
Okay. Okay.
And I also stay
You
in it.
know, a
Let me
lot
add a
of
caveat.
people.
In it, and I allow people to hold me accountable as well. I hold myself accountable to my standard, and I hold myself accountable to the way that I show up for people, because one of my boundaries is that I give the same energy, and if it's loving, and I don't even respond if it's negative. I don't match energy with anybody. I'm not going to walk around with shitty energy because you decided to roll around and
Mm-hmm.
poop.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of
Mm-hmm.
accountability
Which
and
a lot
real
of
boundaries.
people do.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to match energy with you. And I'm like, why? You were perfectly
Why?
happy before the person came over in disgusting energy. Why don't you just ignore
That
them?
part. That part. Or just say, hey, this is what it is. I don't accept this. And you need to check yourself before you either try and contact me again, come talk to me again, or we just don't need to have these conversations, period.
I don't
Because
even
we're
say
never
that.
going to.
And listen, I don't even say that. Once I've said it, once you've noticed my absence once, I'm going to leave it up to you to call
Yep.
me to figure out why I'm not there. Because again, I'm
Yep.
not going to tell you what you can and can't do. You can do whatever it is you
Mm-hmm.
want. You just can't do it and have
Okay.
me in your life at the same time. I'm
Okay.
not going to be there for you doing that. So
Yeah.
I save myself a lot of energy by not having certain conversations. I just
Yeah.
don't. I don't participate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, it seems like running or avoidance. And I've had people say, "Oh, that's avoidant." But I understand that these people, what are they? If I have to tell you not to talk to me crazy, you should have known not to talk to me crazy from the beginning. So if
That
I'm
part.
telling you again, is it not falling on deaf ears? Because you should have
Mm-hmm.
already had the standard for my care. If I have to tell you the basics of how to treat me, my explanation as to why I'm leaving is going to be nonsense. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're going to look up and I'm going to be gone. And I ain't going to answer my phone
Mm-hmm.
because I know that when you call me,
Yeah.
you got your hand out. And I'm just not going to be
Yep.
available. It just is what it
Yep.
is. I'm not having a conversation.
Yep.
People are not children. I expect for people to
Mm-hmm.
have decorum, and you got to have decorum when you deal with me. So I
Absolutely.
just don't answer. We didn't even had a conversation.